that you are supremely great. We know that you are all powerful. In fact, majestic. We know that you are blessed, have blessed this land we call America beyond the wildest imaginations of kings, princes, potentates, and dictators. Today we find ourselves in a desperate spiritual battle, which is, of course, lapping over into the real world. And without you at our side, we have no way to win this war for free will and Christian America. We praise your name, we honor you, and we plead for your support in this battle. Please give us the courage, stamina, guidance, and your grace so as to be victorious. We ask this humbly in the name of the risen Christ. God bless America. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Please remain standing and Sharon Peterson and the Peterson Conservatory Choirs will perform the national anthem. So at this time, we'd like to acknowledge all the PCOs and precinct captains in the room. Could you please stand? The PCOs and precinct captains, please stand. Everybody else may see you now. It's an honor to work with so many of you. I tell you, the precinct captains and PCOs are the backbone and grassroots of our organization. So please stand so we can acknowledge you. Thank you. Thank you. Elected officials in the room, please, all the elected officials in the audience, please stand so we can acknowledge you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. Next, all the volunteers, and there are a lot of them that put together this entire program. Everybody that helped with the Lincoln Reagan Day, please stand so we can acknowledge you. Thank you so much. I tell you, it's a huge job to put on an event like this. These people have worked tirelessly. Thank you. At this time, we will please welcome former Lieutenant Colonel, next is Governor, former U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, and Congressional candidate Dan Matthews, who will be presenting a special recognition to our country, our veterans, and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Go ahead, be seated. Is there anyone here tonight under 15 years old? Not that you identify as 50. Thank you, Bill. Mr. Chairman, honored guests, office holders, candidates, fellow Americans, and Republicans, what an honor to lead this patriotic gathering and a special tribute to our nation. Thank you, Bill, for this solemn privilege. This flag, this solitary reminder is the flag that draped my father's casket, taken at age 33, leaving a wife and 7 children. His service is remembered forever in this flag of dedication and always in our hearts. I hear dedicated as well today to servicemen and women serving around the world. As we solemnly remember the sacrifice of each, may we all never forget that freedom has never been free, and that while all gave some gave all. To recognize those who indeed gave all, are there any Gold Star family members here tonight? If you don't know what a Gold Star family member is, that's someone who has lost a family member in combat. Now, are there, just a shot, are there any active duty military members here tonight? Would you raise your hand if you know or have a family member who's an active military member right now? There we go. Permit me also now to recognize my fellow veterans among this assembly tonight, those who have sworn an oath of office and served. May I ask that every veteran here tonight please stand. Just the veterans, please. Remain standing. Please remain standing, veterans. To join you, I'm going to ask every law enforcement officer who's here tonight, who isn't already standing, please stand. when you were sworn in service to our country. Once again, raising your right hand, ladies and gentlemen, veterans, please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Keith Wagoner,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter,
of which I am about to enter.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Veterans remain standing. Before God and man, we have just repeated the oath of office. We have sworn perhaps several times before. In fact, we are committed still. Indeed, we have never been absolved of this solemn oath. With your applause now, ladies and gentlemen, please help me recognize all these veterans for their service, sacrifice, commitment, and dedication to our country and to you. Veterans remain standing. He's never going to let you go. When we recite the Pledge of Allegiance, ladies and gentlemen, we also repeat an oath, a pledge of allegiance to this flag as an enduring symbol and statement representing our constitutional republic for which it stands. And what is a republic? Our country. We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is who we are and what we are. And it is who we aspire to be. No, we have not reached the summit yet. But we are not stopping, and we are not turning back. Whatever the setback, we press on. Whatever the challenges, we press on. So whether in our prayers, in the oath of office, in our Pledge of Allegiance, or in our national anthem, we bear witness of our individual, personal, and collective commitment of loyalty and honor to our country and to our countrymen, to one another, to life and liberty, for freedom's sake. Let the words we now recite give meaning to the message that each of us is here and now and always committed and dedicated to the solemn ideals of this republic, our nation. Noting that the phrase "one nation under God" has no comma, no pause, because we seek to truly be one nation under God. And we aspire to remain indivisible, always united. Though there are those who seek to divide us for political advantage or advancement, because they do not yet understand that only in our unity will we attain the goals of liberty and justice for all. These lofty goals will forever remain elusive in our division, but our constant motivation in our unity. And so our motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. Now, one and all, please rise. And please join me and these veterans in reciting this pledge this solemn oath. In a slower cadence, please, as we reflect on each word and commit once again to serve our country, whose glorious symbol remains this proud flag. Veterans, I ask in my command that you please render your hand salute and hold. Everyone else, please place your right hand over your heart in reverence. Veterans, present arms. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I always end that with.
Thank you so much, Dan. Okay, now, the Carter Seafood Partner, I think we start with Linda. So we're going to go in rows, and Alicia's going to lead the, go ahead. At this point during the program, we're going to start the speakers. We are focusing on our local candidates this year. Before we get to them, though, we have a very special guest from all the way up from Snohomish, Lenny Chacon. So we have the State Young Republican Chairman for the state of Washington, Lenny Chacon. Please welcome Lenny.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you, Skagit, for having us. I had a lot of amazing conversations over our booth. Thank you all that came up and talked about Young Republicans. So, most of you have heard about us and heard about the Young Republicans. But how many of you have heard our motto? Show of hands. No, not really? Okay. So, our motto is to recruit, train, elect. That is what the Young Republicans are about. That is our mission, that is our mission statement, that is our goal. So tonight, I'm going to make everyone here honorary Young Republicans. So I want to hear you all say it. Our motto is to recruit, train. Oh, that was a little sad. Let's try that again. All right, our motto is excellent. So for tonight, you guys are all honorary Young Republicans. Thank you. Everything this organization does is to further one of those three goals, to recruit, train, elect. We're looking to recruit the party's next leaders. We're looking to train up the next group of activists. And we're looking to elect candidates up and down the ballot. That is the goal of this organization. Last year, in the elections of 2022, the Young Republicans did about 230,000 voter contacts in this state alone. Thank you. It was an incredible effort, and many of our members were out there weekly, out there daily, doorbelling, calling, and sending messages. And not just that, we had over 16 members of the Washington Young Republicans run for office. All of them ran for some form of legislator, with exception of 2 that ran for county offices. Recruit, train, elect. That is our goal. That is why this organization is so important. I firmly believe that the Republican Party is the vehicle that will save America. And I believe that the Young Republicans are the tune-up that vehicle needs. Firmly believe that. So, if you know anybody, ages 18 to 40, get them involved with us, send them our way. I tell people, you can be as active or as passive as you like. We can get you involved, or you just come out to one of our socials. And I'll end with this. I'll tell this story because my father-in-law actually inspired me on this matter about 2 weeks ago, one of his sermons. My father-in-law, he was preaching and he was teaching on the story of Elijah and Mount Carmel. And before I go into preferences, I'm a Bible-believing Baptist, so, hopefully, if you guys don't understand the story, just roll with it. But there's a story in the Bible, 1 Kings, where the land of Israel is in famine. They haven't had water, they haven't had rain, and if you read the text, you see there that the governing ruler, the king, King Ahab, not only had they not had water, but his wife had killed the prophets of the Lord. And not just that, but his wife was actually, while everyone else is starving, actively feeding her pagan prophets at her table. There came a day when King Ahab, you can see this in 1 Kings, there came a day when King Ahab said to his servant Obadiah, we have to find water because all my animals are going to die. He trusted his servant Obadiah above all others, and he sent his servant Obadiah by himself one direction, and this wicked ruler went another direction. So Obadiah, on his journey, meets Elijah, and a long story short, Elijah tells Obadiah a message. Obadiah was a God-fearing man. And while this wicked ruler and this wicked government was doing everything wrong in God's eyes, Obadiah went out of his way to not just serve his wicked ruler, but also to hide some of God's prophets. And here's the key to why Obadiah did this. If you read the text, he told Elijah, I have feared the Lord from my youth. That is why the young Republicans, in my opinion, are very important. Because we have to get the youth involved now. Because when a wicked day comes, and we're kind of seeing a little bit of that now, we might be able to call Ahab the Ahab administration. We have a pretty wicked administration now. When wicked times come, it's good to have people in power that from their youth were involved in the right causes. And again, this is why I am passionate about young Republicans, because our job, our goal is to find and activate young adults for the party, get them politically involved. That way, when they are much older, they're still politically involved because it's now part of their culture and part of their life. So, Bill told me to speak for about 5 minutes, but there he is. And again, I'll be at the table later on. Come by and see me, and I'll be more happy to talk more about young Republicans.
Thank you very much. So I want to remind people at this moment we have a live auction can be later, but the silent auction is open for about another half hour in the back. Please feel free to go back and bid on items there. And in addition to that, the dessert dash, everybody's got a red envelope every table. If we could start thinking about getting a table captain and helping with the donations there. Next up, we're going to get into our local candidates. Lindy Mullen Doyle, Central School Board candidate. Come on up, Lindy.
Because she interviewed
Thank you.
Anderson.
I appreciate the opportunity to
Ended up sort of
talk to all of you
endorsing
tonight.
So that was harmful to me,
running for
but
school board
we're still on good
like
terms.
Bill said. My family has lived in this area and just outside of Lyman since 1902, so over 120 years. I am a local. I attended Cedar Lily Schools kindergarten through 12th grade. And my kids are what inspired me to run for school board. When my son was getting to kindergarten age, I had a lot of concerns. My husband had a lot of concerns, and many other families in our area have concerns as well. And I think that we need to move towards local policies that work for our kids, our families, and our schools, so that our neighborhood public schools are the right choice for our families. As a school board member, I would work for student success, local control, and responsible investment. If you look at student success over the last 10 or so years, about half of our kids are not getting the knowledge that they need in their basic subjects. And I think that that needs to change. I would prioritize getting all students the basic knowledge that they need for success. Right now in our school district, parents are not able to participate in discussions about curriculum, and I think that needs to change. I'm the candidate that will give parents and community members a voice in school curriculum and policies. And with respect to responsible investment, I believe that we need to prioritize funding in the classrooms so that our students are receiving the individual attention that they need to promote student success. To improve our schools, we need a leader that knows how to tackle these big improvements, and that's me. I have a bachelor's and master's degree. I have teaching experience both in elementary and in college subjects, and I have a project management certification and continuous improvement experience as well. I appreciate the opportunity to earn your support both on the ballot and in my campaign. I have a table over here. Please come and chat with me afterwards. With your support, we can give our kids, families, and community what they need from our schools. Thank you.
Next up, Burlington Mayor candidate Joe DeGloria. Come on up, Joe.
Good evening, Skagit Republicans. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. My name is Joe DeGloria, and I'm running for mayor in the city of Burlington. I'm a longtime resident of the city of Burlington. My wife of 25 years, Gala, and I are raising our family here. I'm proud to call Burlington my home. For the past 9 years, it has been a pleasure to serve my community on the Burlington City Council, where I have gained valuable experience with city budgets and participating in city operations. I've done this through numerous committees, public works, investments, and audit and finance, as well as, over the last 6 years, elected mayor pro tem by my city council members. I have been a consistent voice in advocating for accountability, low taxes, and stewardship over public funds. As mayor, I will work to lower taxes, enhance public safety, and incentivize builders and developers of Burlington to grow our local economy. Only 3 minutes, I gotta be quick here. Looking forward, I will formulate creative solutions that incentivize those builders, developers, and businesses to grow our local economy through creative solutions and using my education, Bachelor of Science from Western Washington University. I am excited to think about a growing, thriving, and prosperous Burlington. My leadership, experience, and passion for our diverse community make me the right person at the right time. With continued community support and encouragement, it will be my honor to serve the residents and businesses of Burlington as mayor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe. Next up, Alan Henderson, Cedar-Willie City Council candidate.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. I'd just like to start by saying how grateful and humble I am to be able to speak to you this evening. My name is Alan Henderson. I'm running for Cedar-Willie City Council in Ward 4. I've lived in Skagit County for over 35 years, and I am a longtime resident of Cedar-Willie. In October 2003, at 19 years of age, I left my home on State Street, right in Ward 4, to enlist and serve my country in the United States Marine Corps as an infantry rifleman. I'm an Iraq War combat veteran and served honorably both on active duty and in the reserves for 12 years. In 2013, I was fortunate to find my home back in this great city and in the same ward and provide for my family within the local community. My background is service and leadership, as well as continuing to serve as a public employee, prompted me to run for council to further serve and be a voice for the voters on issues that impact us right here in our local community. I'm no stranger to hard work, and I have the courage to fight for you, the voters, when I am elected. Our small town values are important to me, and I will fight to keep the integrity of Cedar-Woolley. Cedar-Woolley is a wonderful small town with many important thriving small businesses and restaurants. We have beautiful historical neighborhoods and homes, and this is a great place to raise a family, and I aim to keep it that way. We are being challenged by drugs and crime, and it is starting to show. And this is one of the many reasons I heavily support our law enforcement. As an elected official, I'll help to provide and pass city ordinances that are enforceable, and that it is with our full support that strict non-drug friendly ordinances take place. And this will give our police the edge they need to keep our community safe. We have many other issues that need to be addressed in Ward 4, from traffic and roads, homelessness, and urban growth. Each of these issues are of great concern to us all, and I plan to address each of them and more. I look forward to speaking to every one of you about the impacts that these challenges may create for yourselves, and working with the rest of the council and new mayor on how to ease the burden on the hardworking families of this community. I encourage each of you to contact me directly and speak to me in person about your concerns. I'm right back there in that booth. I will always remember who I work for, the citizens of Cedar-Woolley who elected me, and I will always put their needs first. As hard as I will work for you in office, I cannot get there without your support. So please, tell a friend, help others register to vote, and show up to vote yourselves. And come November, I will be your next city councilman for Ward 4 Cedar-Woolley. Thank you.
Next up, McKesney for Cedar-Woolley Mayor. Go ahead.
Please bear with me, my allergies are affecting my voice. I want to first start off thanking Bill, Connie, and Judy. From the moment I met them, they have been welcoming and supportive. We cannot ask for better people to be the first faces welcoming you to the Skagit County Republican Party. I cannot tell you how refreshing it is to be around women supporting women. From the first time I attended the Skagit County Republican Women's Group, Darlene Hamburg took my hand and introduced me to many of the wonderful women of this organization that I am now proud to be a part of. As I was sitting down to write this speech, I thought, how do I sum up in 3 to 5 minutes the challenges we are facing in Cedar-Woolley and the dire need for new leadership? And I guess I would liken our current city leadership to the Biden administration. Council members' roles are being minimized. We are censored and told to stay in our lane. Our committee meetings are micromanaged, and many of our concerns and questions go unanswered. There are no collaborations, and good ideas are ignored and not fostered. But it isn't us just being ignored. It's the constituents, it's the business owners, and it's the developers. If there is no trust in the leadership, and the only information you get is handed down from them pushing their own agenda on a need-to-know basis, then our voices are not being heard. We have a lawyer being directed by the administration to align our codes with the state of Washington, rather than what is best for our city. They've introduced the Cedar-Woolley Academy, using our tax dollars and the time and salaries of our directors to educate the public on what the city does, how does it work, and then the real reason, trying to attract those with progressive ideology to run for our city government. They spend thousands on motivational speakers and leadership courses that you have to put sticky notes on the wall to say how much you love Cedar-Woolley and teach you how to love your city. Let me tell you, I see the staff and the leadership they already possess. I value their hard work and ability to do so much with tied hands and a shoestring budget. We do not need to spend thousands of taxpayer dollars to be shown ways to love our city, because we already do it. What we need is the candidate that was appointed mayor pro tem by 2 different councils and who has the majority of council's endorsement, because they believe and know that I will be the one to bridge the gap between our branches of government, and who can motivate and empower our city council and employees. I promise this: as mayor of Cedar-Woolley, I will make the necessary budget cuts, control wasteful spending, and bring back our hometown hospitality. I embrace Cedar-Woolley and all that we are, and I love how we get things done the Woolley way. I want to see our town prosper and grow responsibly without losing our identity for the sake of growth. Join me on the path of common sense government, and I will continue to put the great people of Cedar-Woolley first. Thank you.
Next up, Linda Martin, Anacortes City Council. Come on up, Linda.
Hi, everybody. How many of you are from Anacortes? Hey. How many of you are patriots? It should be everybody. My name is Linda Martin. I'm running for the city council position in Anacortes. And I want to talk to you about 3 things really quickly. I want to talk to you about why I'm running, what my background and qualifications are, and then what does common sense leadership mean? Because that's my theme, common sense leadership. So, like many of you, and probably most of you, I've noticed that there was a lot of changes that have happened to our country recently, and not changes for the good. And like probably all of you here, I started to ponder, well, what can I do? How can I help? How can I use my skills? And so there is a poem by Helen Keller, and I'm probably going to get it wrong, but she said, I am only one, but still I am one. Because I'm one, I will not refuse to do the one thing that I can do. I can't do everything, that's right. I can't do everything, but I won't refuse to do the one thing that I can do. And so I thought, well, I know I have skills, I know I have abilities. Let's open up the city council, let's run for it. So as far as skills and abilities, I was not born in the United States. I was born and raised in Canada. And Anacortes is my adopted home. And those of you who are adopted, by the way, when you're adopted, you're chosen. And Anacortes isn't my home by default. It's my chosen home. And I love Anacortes. And my background, though, is in education. So I have been a principal, well, I've been a teacher, a principal, and a superintendent for many years. As superintendent, you might know, it's like running a small city. You have to take care of finances, personnel, transportation, facilities, and besides all that, you have to make sure that the students are well educated. So I have been fortunate in each one of those roles to have won awards, and as superintendent, I was awarded the Superintendent of the Year for small schools, called the Robert Handy Award. So that's my background, that's why I'm running. Now, what is common sense leadership? That's the question. What do you think is common sense leadership? It's not so common anymore. Common sense leadership looks at data, looks at things like, what's the crime rate in Anacortes? Do you understand that the crime rate, even though violent crime, it has been not too bad. Property crime in Anacortes, in 6 out of 7 categories, has gone way up, and in some cases over 200% up year over year, according to the police annual report. We need to do something about that. How do we support our police officers? How do we provide ordinances that are going to be enforceable? How do we provide education? How do we do those things? Then small business, common sense leadership in small business. What does that look like? Less taxes, less bureaucracy. Let's make way for people so that they can really thrive in our beautiful city. There's many other things that I would like to work on, that I would like to talk to you about. I think we've got just 3 minutes, so just to say, I know that I can make the tough decisions when it comes to prioritizing budgets. I can make those tough decisions, and I'm hoping that you will also make the tough decision to vote for me, Linda Martin, Anacortes City Council. Thank you.
We'll give you a 5-minute warning for the gun raffle and the silent auction closing in 5 minutes, so finish your bidding. Next up, Navarre Tesoro, Mount Vernon City Council candidate. Navarre.
So my name is Navarre Tesoro. I'm running for Mount Vernon City Council in Ward 1. I really enjoy coming to the Lincoln Day Dinner, the regular Lincoln Day Dinner. I just enjoy seeing so many of you that I've known throughout the years. And this is such a fun event, so thank you, Bill. Thank you for inviting me to come speak. So when I think of politics, I think of it being a battle of ideas, good ideas and bad ideas, and the consequences of those ideas. I think that as has been described by some of the other candidates running, there is a common occurrence that's happening across this country where people are waking up and saying, I don't recognize my city. I don't recognize this county. I don't recognize this state. And that is because of the bad ideas that are being put forward around the country. So I'm a bit of a history buff, and so when I think about, well, where did these bad ideas originate? And one of the most influential writers in history was Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He was a French writer. And just to give you a little description of who Jean-Jacques Rousseau, what he was like. This is a man who had 5 children, didn't bother naming a single one of them, and sent them to orphanages. This is a man who used women as a plaything, conned several people out of money and swindled them. But the greatest con that he was able to pull off was convincing people through his writings to disregard public property. And what I see through that idea being transmitted throughout the ages, because his ideas are what instigated the French Revolution, the barbarism, the savagery that represents. Now, by contrast, at that same time, across the Atlantic, there were these men who were coming up with our Constitution, with our Declaration of Independence, based on other ideas. And so, what that tells me is that we see these bad ideas being repudiated time and time again, and yet these people today are still trying to put these bad ideas into practice, disregarding private property, defunding the police, ignoring our drug laws. All of these things have been tried time and time again, and they failed. And what I don't want to have happen is in a couple of years, waking up and saying, I don't recognize Mount Vernon anymore. We need people to have good ideas to implement at these levels in order that we have a society that we recognize. So again, my name is Navarre Tesoro. I run for City Council here in Mount Vernon. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. So I think, are there any other candidates? I've been just really busy, but I know we have maybe a few others. I know Mark Holst could be here tonight. Mark Holst is running for re-election. Very, very important race. We need to support Mark. All these candidates as well. I know there's a few others. Did any other candidates want to speak on the local level? Last chance. Going once, going twice. Okay, we're going to continue on. So, oh, David, yeah, good. Oh, good. David, yeah. Just want to double check. So, David Sherrick, come on up. Running for school board. Mount Vernon School Board.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you, everybody, for being here and supporting the cause. It's a good one. I think we all feel the tide kind of changing and turning a little bit toward our favor. There's a lot going on, and we just appreciate that you all have come here, contributed your time, your energy, your money. And I'm running for that school board position. There's 3 openings in the Mount Vernon board this year. I'm the only one who's challenging the incumbent. So there'll be 2 incumbents that get automatically reelected. It was a real opportunity, I think, for us to really move in. We missed it a little bit. The Mount Vernon School Board is about 10.8 million upside down right now, and they're scrambling and laying off people at the teacher level, and they are adding 3 more administrators. So, I come from a business background. My wife's a teacher, but as a stakeholder, I consider myself, a taxpayer, a parent, and it's just important to all of us. Even the business owners in town, they depend upon the schools to provide those young people to go into their organizations and to help to grow their business. So, the business owners suffer when we don't make regular proficiencies, standard proficiencies. And right now, a large percentage, more than half of our students are not up to the grade level in their studies. And we need to look at that. And of course, the budget thing, I really want to get involved with that. As a business person, I call on a lot of car dealers in my life, look at a lot of financial statements, and I think I can contribute quite strongly to helping in that regard. And lastly, parental rights are very important. My kids are all out of school now, but I know a lot of you have kids or grandkids that are in the schools, and we're not about to give up the teaching of the morals, the teaching of sexual standards and those type of things to our school districts. We want to retain those as a parental right, and I'm sure you're with me on that one. I also want to take this opportunity to admit a little bit of a snafu. This is the first time I've ever run for an office, and I missed the deadline for the pamphlet, the voter pamphlet. So you'll see my name on the ballot, you'll see my name on the voter pamphlet, but you won't see any detail about me. And I'm sorry, I apologize to you all, and I know that was a major problem, but what it will require, of course, is a lot of hard work. And so I'm at table 17, and if you'd like to be part of the team that defeats that incumbent that helps put us $10 million in debt, come by table 17, sign up with me to help. I sure would need the help, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so the silent auction and the gun raffle are now closed. Now at this time, we have a very special award to present to a very special person. Tonight, the Skagit Area Republican Party is going to do a life tribute and present the Legacy Award to a very deserving individual that has probably meant more to the Skagit Area Republican Party than any other person. Bob Everly Will you please come up to the stage? Many of you know that Bob Everly's been an integral part of the Skagit County Republican Party for many years, but you may not know some important things about Bob. Bob received his master's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Alabama in 1960. Then for the next 2 years, Bob became an instructor of mechanical engineering at the University of Alabama. Bob was doing so well at the U of A that headhunters from the Boeing company recruited Bob to come out to the Pacific Northwest to work for Boeing as a systems engineer. Little did Boeing know what they got themselves into. Bob was a staunch conservative, and soon after Bob ran for the Washington State Legislature in 1962, not only was he elected as a first-time candidate, he defeated the Democrat House Majority Leader and flipped a very important seat. Bob was a fiscal conservative and a big believer in free market economics and how it raised the standard of living for so many Americans, and immediately made a huge impact in the 1963 and 64 legislative sessions as Republicans took control of the House by forming a coalition with 7 conservative Democrats and passed no new taxes and reduced regulations by 20%. They have conservative Democrats back there? That's right. Those were the days. The next year, Bob became the Washington State Barry Goldwater State Chairman and Chairman of the Goldwater Committee for Western Washington. In 1976, he was very active in the Ronald Reagan presidential campaign and race and helped secure the state delegation for Reagan. In between, Bob wrote and published a book entitled Hope and Opportunity, The Struggle for the Middle Class Power. The message of the book: enhance rewards of the doers, have courage, believe in success, and transfer money from government into the paychecks of people who are working for a living. In 1978, Bob was again elected to the state legislature. Then he was re-elected in 1980 and returned to the Washington State House of Representatives with a strong Republican majority. Did I say that again? Bob returned to the Washington State House of Representatives with a strong Republican majority. This was obviously before mail-in ballots. In 1980, Bob was appointed chairman of the most important and powerful committee in Olympia, the Redistricting Committee. In 1983, Bob served in the Reagan administration in the Department of Energy in Washington, D.C., then for the Bush administration in the General Services Administration, which supports the basic functioning of all federal government agencies. In the 90s, Bob was successful executive director of the King County Republican Party, and after moving to La Conner, Bob served as the Skagit County Republican Party chairman and state committeeman. In the early 2000s, Bob and his younger brother Bruce worked together in the Bruce W. Everly Company, which was the premier fundraiser of the national scene for conservative, religious, and political groups and campaigns. In 2011, Bob was elected as Anacortes Port Commissioner and later became president of the commission. Bob and his wife, Claire, continue to be involved in Skagit County Republican Party politics and campaigns. Bob has always been active in church and civic affairs. It's my absolute honor to present the Skagit Republicans Lifetime Legacy Award to Bob Everly.
We were just talking about that. Hello. Hi. How are you? Hi.
I may not open it properly, but I'll get it open.
Hi, Bill. Here we go. Hi, Bill. Claire.
Hell, you're here.
Sorry we ran a little late. You know, at this point, if you do it open, we're good.
That's right.
Right?
Okay, just want to remind people of the dessert dash envelopes to start looking at the dessert dash and get ready for dessert dash here. But before that, very, very important, and I tell you, we it's such an honor to have, and indeed it's such an honor to introduce tonight's special guest speaker. Semi Bird is a former United States Marine Special Forces Green Beret. While serving our country here in the Purple Heart and Bronze Star Valor Awards, among many other distinguished awards. He's had a long-time successful career in leadership, serving as Associate Director for Washington State University, and Associate Director for the Federal Director of the Department of Education, and Advisor to the Ambassador of Bangladesh. Semi is a behavior scientist, the Executive Director of Team Concepts Training and Consulting, and currently serves as School Board Director for the Richland School District and is chairman of the Benton County Republican Party. Please give a warm Skagit County welcome to our Republican candidate for governor, Semi Bird.
Well, usually I anchor my chin to talk with my hands. I like that women of the background I'm Italian, but in true honesty, I'm actually Scottish. As established my brother over here to the right. But thank you very much, and I appreciate everybody being here and supporting the Skagit County Republican Party. Republican Party. You know, I think nowadays we need to re-anchor ourselves to understand what is a Republican. What is a Republican? What do we represent? Who are we? And I'll say this, just as a historic reminder. We are the party in 1854 in Ripon, Wisconsin, started by abolitionists, Christian abolitionists who came away from the Whig Party and created the Republican Party for the sole purpose of ending slavery in America. That's who we are. We are the party of women's rights. We are the party of civil rights. We are the party of love and compassion, the Republican Party. I think it's about time we start recognizing, taking back our identity. And speaking of identities, I may have a few pronouns I'd like to share with you. I do identify as a constitutional Christian conservative. I'm a little silly at times, and I'm not drinking that much. My friends, if I was talking to you about what conservatism is, or my relationship with God, or what it is to be a Republican, I'll start by saying I never walked away from anything. I've never been a Democrat. I've always been a Republican my entire life. And that, oh, it gets better. If you understand how I started my life journey, okay, I'm black, right? I know. See, I know you guys like shocking. You thought I was Scottish too, right? It's okay. Right, we're okay. But I started my life's journey in the inner city ghetto of East Oakland, California, born to a single black woman with 7 babies. I was born without civil rights. Look where I'm standing right now and who am I representing? Accident. My mother was a Democrat. She just didn't know. She was a Republican too. I'm still trying to convince the rest of the family, but they love me. They love me. They know what right is. It's all good. But I started my life's journey out on Scripture, the Bible. Then my mother gave me the other book, the dictionary. She said, I want a word every night from this book because the word of man will fill your mind. Then I want a verse from this book, as she would call the good book. And the word of Christ, the word of the Lord will fill your soul. And with the love of God and a good education, there is nothing that you cannot accomplish in America. That is who we are. My friends, my mother raised me to be resilient. She did not raise me to be a victim. She made sure that I understood my self-worth in this country. She made sure I had self-respect and self-esteem. My mother raised me to be resilient because she knew what it was like on the outside, but at the same time, blame was never discussed in our house. You know, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was marching in the streets so someday I could have civil rights. While I was playing on the streets of the projects, this is how I started my life's journey. And I'm going to tell you what, I could never live in a better country than the United States of America. So Mom moved us to Seattle, Washington. So I was raised in Seattle, Washington. I dropped out of high school in Seattle, Washington. I know, people are going to say, that's an October surprise. Don't say that. You know what? Every skeleton I've got in my closet, I'll bring out and dance publicly. And that's without alcohol. Okay? We have to stop this division. We have to stop these attacks that we do. We have to stop this nonsense of a political aristocracy or the establishment that chooses who they think is the right candidate for the people. We need the people to stand up and choose who's the right candidate for the people. But I digress. I left high school my junior year, age 17. And after a lot of research and studying and analysis, I joined the United States Marine Corps within about a matter of 2 seconds because they had the best looking uniforms. And I served in the United States Marine Corps for 2 enlistments. I received my Good Conduct Medal, which was a surprise because I got busted in rank. I got it back. Oh, I can tell you stories. I'm sure the stories are already out there. That's another October surprise that we unpackaged last November. Anyway, I left the Marine Corps, but before I left the Marine Corps, remember that promise. Well, I didn't tell you about the promise. I made a promise to my mother, and so did my recruiter. Mrs. Bird, your son will get his high school diploma within his first year of serving in the Marine Corps. Hoorah. And I said, Mom, I'll do it. Mom, I'll do it. Please sign here. Okay. I reported to my first unit. I tell the story probably. I reported to my commander, sir, Private First Class Bird, reporter's order, sir. At ease, Private First Class Bird, your mother called, son. Well, that's a true story right there. That's my mother. You know, this story really is not about me. It's about the amazing woman that raised me. And I will tell you this, if you see what's going on in our society today, you know the truth. It is the breakdown of the American family. We need to bring God back in the household. We need to keep families together, and we need to teach civics in school. And so as I was doing a very prompt United States Marine Corps about face, the commander says to me, Private First Class Bird, I made a promise to your mother just like you did, and my promise is the promise of this command. I intend on attending your graduation, and the base command sergeant major who is waiting outside will escort you to the education center to make sure. And I got my diploma, and he attended my graduation, and the last thing I remember him saying, son, get your grades up, good Lord. And I gotta say this, as a young man, my mother always wanted to raise me as a Christian gentleman. And I was telling some folks the other day, my mom would always say, Lord have mercy. And I realized she really only said that when I was around doing something to keep her challenged. And so 16 years later, I'm gonna go a little bit before, after leaving the United States Marine Corps, I went to college. And I got my bachelor's degree in business administration, summa cum laude, 4.0, never give up on a child. Never give up on a child. I went to graduate school at Villanova University in Philadelphia, 3.74. I'm gonna stop with the GPAs, I'm doing all right. And I received my graduate degree. I'm finishing up my PhD in industrial and organizational psychology. I finished my psychology coursework years ago. I have to finish my research. But I wanted to go to work. After 9/11, after already serving in the military, as a flight medic, I volunteered to serve in Army Special Forces. I became a Green Beret at age 43. Once again, I want to give props to my mother. Because my entire life, my mother did nothing but encourage me. Honey, you can. Honey, you can. Honey, you can. As I say to everybody who will listen, my mother raised me to be an American and not an American. We need a little bit more of that back in the family, do we not? And as Bill said in his introduction, I did leave active duty. I did receive the Bronze Star of Valor, the Purple Heart, Meritorious Service Medal, and other commendations. But it wasn't the military medals that made me who I was. It was the mission. It was the fellowship, the love of my soldiers, the love of my brothers. And I would say, I served in the Special Forces A team, so we didn't have any sisters with us. Not yet, someday, who knows. But it was that camaraderie. It was love of country. It was focus on mission. We never gave up, ever. We never gave up on ourselves. We never went into battle afraid of what could happen. We went into battle knowing what would happen. We were warriors. My friends, it's time to replace career politicians with career Americans, warriors. I have to be truthful, I did not serve with the United States Department of Education. That's okay. I left active duty. I was going to go to the CIA, and the reason I was because when I left an A team, I went into Special Forces Intelligence. I became a leader in Special Forces Intelligence. I'm familiar with psychological operations. Well, we do some stuff overseas. Intelligence nets in all countries. My specificity was in counter-narco-terrorism with a focus in South America, Central America, the Caribbean. So, yo hablo solamente un poco español, pero yo trato de aprender todos mis amigos allá. Está bien. My next focus was in the Asia Pacific of operation. My focus was on China and the threat, the One China policy, and their effects on Taiwan, where I spent many a times in Taiwan building their partner nation capacity. So, está bien. Well, cultural competency doesn't far fall from history. Never underestimate a brother, just looking at a brother, right? I used to bring some Chinese folks out. I'm just going to say that. In love. Knowledge, skills, and abilities, leadership. We have not had leadership in Olympia my entire life, and I've been here since I was 7 years old. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming, but let me just say this. We have a strategy, we have a vision, we have a mission, and we have established a plan to win in 2024, and we will win in 2024. Let me tell you what's going on. You know that I'm traveling the entire state. If you ever follow me on Facebook, and it seems weird for a 62-year-old man to say, if you ever follow me on Facebook or social media, I think I'm on Instagram, I don't even know what it is. We have a strategy. We are going into those communities that Republicans have failed to engage for years, for decades, or maybe ever. We are going into the Hispanic community, the Black communities, the Asia Pacific communities, the Samoan and Polynesian communities. We are engaging with career Americans. 3 days ago, I met with Black leaders from King County. And I was talking about sanctuary states and sanctuary cities and our broken welfare system. And I told them I do not support a sanctuary state. We have career Americans right here in Washington State that are living below the poverty lines. We have academic chaos, as that school board director, or will be a school board director, said earlier. When it comes to English and language arts, only 50.7% of all students make grade level standards. When it comes to math, only 37.7% of all grade level students make grade level standards. I'm speaking fast because I know I'm going to run out of time. Only 42.7% of all students make grade level standards for science. So our academic, our education system is broken, and this is why we need school choice, where the money follows the backpack. We need to bring competition and academic excellence to the public education system. I'm not going to give up on that, because we need quality in rural education as much as we need it in urban education. And as a school board director, I made sure that we stood against the sins of critical race theory. When you teach a child that the color of their skin determines their outcome in life, you don't know that this is America. When you teach a white child that the color of their skin leads them to slavery, you don't know that this is America. In America, anyone, everyone can be who they want to be if they work hard enough. And I say against you, brothers and sisters, it's not from teaching children helplessness and despair. It's teaching all children hopefulness through prayer. We live in a state of lawlessness because we lack leadership. We have an administration that makes up names for taxes just to tax us more. And as I went into the inner city communities, I want you to know what you all probably already know. A black or white businessman or woman makes no difference. Over-regulation and over-taxation hinders economic growth in Washington State. We will give tax relief to our citizens and to our small businesses for the first time in 40 years. We will support our law enforcement. We will hold prosecutors accountable for enforcing the law and honoring their oath of office. So what I say as governor of Washington State, if you are not honoring your oath of office, you are in countervention of your oath, and I will come after you. In November 11, 1889, when we became the 42nd state in this union, we had a constitution. We have a constitution. It's time we start paying attention to our constitution and respecting our constitution. The people of Washington State, grateful to the supreme ruler of the universe for our liberties to ordain this Constitution. We knew who it came for. We know that our rights do not come from man. Our rights come from God Almighty. That is the Republican Party platform. And I will tell you this. We will take back our state. We will give back our civil liberties. We will protect the people who have been marginalized through our broken welfare system that pays out just enough money to get the marginalized people to vote for them and keep them poor for the rest of their life. This is what we are going to change. And as a party of liberty, opportunity, and freedom in America, we will reform our welfare system. We will lift people up out of poverty. Because as a fiscal conservative, whenever we lift an individual out of poverty, we give them freedom through jobs. We do not enslave them with a broken ideology and a welfare system that subjugates people of color to a lifetime and generational poverty. It stops in 2024, starting in 2025. There's so much I want to say to you. There's so much I can say to you, but let me say this. Have faith. Believe in God. Believe in yourselves. Believe in our party. Believe in our platform. And I pray that you will support me. You'll stand with me. You'll get behind me. You'll get to the side of me. And if you want, you lead, I'll follow. But we need to get to the finish line. We need to save our state. And in 2024, if we stand together, we pull together, we bring love, compassion, and support, we will give Olympia the bird. Come on.
So right now, please finish the dessert dash. Volunteers are going to be coming to the table in the next few minutes. If you could just go ahead and pick a table captain and support your table name, the number. If you don't know your number, the number is in your base. Fill out that envelope. And if you put a credit card at the beginning, just put your bidder number down. Thank you very much. At this point, we have a special guest that you just got here. So, Georgette Ferris and Mary Sullivan, your dear friends, they were doing another event down in Snohomish, and they just got here. They have some amazing things to share with us. God, government, and goodness. They spoke a couple weeks ago, and I saw them and said, you need to speak at our Lincoln Reagan Day dinner. And in addition to that, we're helping with the new Reject 5599 here you go, referendum. So without further ado, Georgette Ferris, Mary Sullivan.
Hello, everyone. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having us. Mary and I just did a conference Friday night and all day today. We're engaging the culture. We're asking pastors and churches to come get involved in the mountain of government, telling them what they can and can't do, and trying to get them. We don't want to just get them to vote. We want to evangelize them as to why it's important to be involved in today's culture and in government. So we just got here. Sorry, I'm not dressed up because this is my new uniform. I'm washing my t-shirt every day. I'm going around in part of the 5599. And my husband said when I left the house, was, where's the bullfight? I said, yes, I do look like a bullfighter. I'd rather fight in a bull, you know what? So, do you all know what I'm going to let Mary talk more about the conference and what we're doing, and I'm going to tell you about 5599. Do you all know what 5599 is? You do, or you don't? Okay, people are shaking their head no. Who does not? Raise your hand. All right, 5599 is a Senate bill that passed. It's wicked, it's egregious, it's debaucherous, it is terrible. Okay? It does not stand alone despite what the liars on the left are saying. There are three bills that go together. 1469, the Shield Law, and 5484, which did not get out of the Senate yet. Right? So, because what a referendum is, we're doing a referendum. A referendum overturns a bad bill. So this wicked bill has passed. 5599 is government-sanctioned kidnapping of your children. So if a child wants to have what they call protected health services, which is genital mutilation and butchery, they can take your children. Your little girl can have an abortion without your knowledge and take the child away. And should anything go wrong, they put your 13-year-old back on a bus or something to send her back wherever, and she bleeds out or something, you have no recourse. And you're going to pay, our taxes are going to pay, grants are going to pay. So if an activist teacher, let's say a kid is at a slumber party or something, or at school, and they're talking about, oh, I think I'm going to be a boy, and she's 8, there's no age limit. People are saying 13. No, contract, there's no age limit. And they can say, oh, do you think you really want this surgery? Or you want to do that? Yeah, and they're a kid. They're caught up in a conversation. They're being indoctrinated, discipled, and evangelized from Hollywood, the music, the movies, the schools, all day long, right? And what if they with whatever's happening? And if a kid says, at a slumber party, which just happened to recently to someone here in our state, yeah, I think I do. Oh, do you think your mom would like that? No, I don't think so. Boom. Boom. Your kid is gone. Kidnapped. They go into a government home, a host home, or a government thing. Anyway, youth shelter. So that's what this bill is. And so it is passed. And what a referendum is the people's opportunity to veto. So we need 200,000 signatures by July 15th, okay? And what's going to happen if we get those signatures, this will go on the ballot and you get to vote whether you like this wickedness or not, okay? It's just the beginning, right? So we need your signatures, we need you to tell people the truth, and the left is coming out. I saw Representative Nyman, I guess it's pronounced Wynn, and he was on the Brandy Cruz show saying, oh, we're all lying, it's not a big deal. I'm like, you are lying. Because it goes with 1469. Do you know what 1469 is? The Shield Law. So if kids come from another state, like Texas, Idaho, Montana, where they don't allow this, and they want an abortion or mutilation, and a parent calls our state and says, oh my gosh, my child is missing, but can you help me? I think my child could be a runaway. We're not going to tell them. We're going to lie. We're going to hide their kid. And their kid, their life is altered. And why do they want to alter our children? Why is the homosexual community coming after our children? Ask yourself that. And I'm not against a person. I'm against child sexualization and mutilation, right, and abuse. Because this is going to change their God-given identity forever, right? It's
trying to do. The homosexual community cannot procreate, so they want your children. So we're not asking you to be hateful. We're asking you to stand up for the children on your watch. Stand up for the children on your watch. We are all going to stand before God. I want you to put your hand on your heart. Put your hand on your heart. Is it beating? You got purpose. You have purpose. There is life in you for a reason. It's for such a time as this. And I want you to say, send me, Lord. I want you to get signatures, and I want you to tell people the truth. The language in the bill is made to be confusing or whatever because they don't use they want to trick us on the right because they don't want to inflame us, okay? So what they'll do is they'll use general terms that they need to fill in. I am telling you the truth. This is government-sanctioned kidnapping. It's genital mutilation and butchery. It's chemical castration, and we have to stand up for the kids. God bless you. Thank you. So what Georgina and I are been doing for a couple of years is we just did our first God, Government, and Goodness conference. And basically what we've been doing for the last couple of years, we do pastors' luncheons. And I do these luncheons with pastors in Snohomish County. We're from Snohomish County. And we introduce them to Christian legislators and godly men and women that the pastors can meet and trust. We try to vet these candidates as best as we can because we're wanting to try to get the churches to participate more in government and to get their people to vote. And why are we doing that? So to give you two stats really fast, in 2020, on the national level, 45 million registered Christians did not vote in the 2020 election. 45 million did not vote. When we crunched that down in 2020 in Washington State, to what the numbers were in Washington State. In Washington State in 2020, 900,000 Christians, registered Christians, did not vote. In 2020, Inslee won, or supposedly won by 500,000. So if you shave off 100,000, 150,000 for maybe some fraud, because we know there's fraud in types of ways, shave off maybe another 100,000, 150,000 for the other side of types of churches that are liberal and want the trans agenda and want all of these strange laws. We still, if the Christians in this state, the registered voters would have voted in 2020, we would have another governor today. Now, go back to 2022, just this past November, we had CD2, which is part of, there you are. So Dan Matthews ran against Rick Larson in our CD2, and this is information I actually got from Dan at a fundraiser with Michelle Bachman. I said to you, I said, are you going to run again? He goes, why should I? I go, well, why shouldn't you? And you said, because the conservatives are not voting. I go, what do you mean they're not voting? And he said that their group crushed, this is November 2022. So CD2 is the San Juan Island, Skagit County, and some of Snohomish County, right? So they crunched their numbers, he told me, and in this area, our area, 90,000 conservatives did not vote in 2022 November. So I said to him, I said, are you sure they weren't Republicans? It was the Republican vote? And he said no. Remember this conversation? He said no, it was conservatives. And I said to him, well, 90,000 conservatives in November of 2022 in our CD2 did not vote. I said conservatives, 95, 97 percentages of conservatives are Christian or Christian Catholic or whatever, but they're Christian, they're Christ followers. And he said he lost by 30,000 votes. And these conservatives did not vote in our area, are registered voters. There are more of us than them, but we're not voting. We're not getting the message to them. For some reason, they're getting the ballot in the mail, they're not opening it, and they're not sending it. So what Georgina and I are trying to do, they're Christian voters, we're trying to get to the churches, trying to get to the pastors and say, you're responsible. And if you think about it, if it's Christian conservative voters that are not voting, that can flip this state, who's responsible? The pastors, the churches. Really, it's on the pastor and church's shoulders because we can do this if we can reach them. And so Dan said the most amazing thing. I said, so it was 90,000 Christians
that didn't vote in CD2 in November 22. He goes, yeah, Mary, he goes, and if you multiply that times 10, the 10 congressional districts in our state, there's your 900,000. So it's the same number, and so we're working very hard to reach those votes. And I brought a table of books and some information if you'd like to know more about it. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
And just to tell you, in Stanwood, we had a representative named Greg Day, and he serves his church, he goes on mission trips, and his church would not allow him to get up and speak and share. He lost by 215 votes. The church is over 400. So we don't want to just go register. We want to teach the pastors and teach the people what stewardship of this great nation is. We the people, you and me, we the people. This is our country and God has given us stewardship. Read Romans 13 about the privileges of stewardship when the Apostle Paul was put into prison. And when he got released, he said, oh no, I'm a citizen of Rome. Whoa, and the whole story changed, right? And just here's a thought I want to leave you with. You were a citizen of this great country before you became a Christian. Right? You didn't ask Christ into your life till you were a little bit at the age of accountability, right? But you were born a citizen. God has put you here for such a time as this. Thank you.
Let's get Dropbox.
Thank you. So if you haven't signed the back of the signing table by the balloons, if you haven't signed, before you leave tonight, please sign. It's so important. And next to that, there's a stack of flyers talking about election integrity. I'm just going to say a few things on this. We'll get to dessert real quick. But it's really, really important. A lot of you are not aware of what's going on at the state level. Caleb Heimlich, our state chairman of 7.5 years and 12.5 years in the party, Monday came out and said he's resigning. So a lot of people were in shock. There's lots of reasons for that. We'll get into it right now. But there was a fantastic good news I want to share with you. The state representative, Jim Walsh, is putting his name in the hat. And I can tell you right now, as one of the voting members, it's not a question if he's going to be our state chair. The question is, will it be unanimous or not? Because I think it's going to be a unanimous vote. So expect Representative Jim Walsh from the 19th Legislative District to be the new state chairman of the Washington State Republican Party. And Jim is fantastic. I know a lot of you met him. He spoke last year at this event. He and Matthew Froelich, who's the new political director for the Washington State Republican Party, flipped the 19th legislative district. Used to be dark blue, deep blue for 50 years, down in Aberdeen, Grays Harbor, Longview area. Walsh won by 2 points in 2016, 2 points in 2018. He hired on Matthew Froelich in 2020. He won by 20 points in a previous Democratic district. And then 2022, he just won again by 20 points. He wants to take that and bring it to the whole state of Washington. He told me in candor he's planning to spend 2 days a week in Bellevue, 5 days a week everywhere else around the state. He's going to be going all over. He's very much on election integrity. Very, very good breath of fresh air for our party. And it's a blessing that we have that he wants to do this. We are going to be doing ballot collecting. We've been trying to ban ballot harvesting years and years and years. It hasn't worked. That strategy has not worked. The Democrats have NGOs that do ballot harvesting. They do it very, very effectively. As a quick example, in California, the California GOP focused on ballot harvesting. We call it ballot collecting. We ordered 5 boxes. We'll have them in our office. And the flyer's in the back of the table before you go take one. It explains what it is. But it's legal in Washington State. And Jim Walsh and a lot of others we're focusing on this and making a strategy and a priority. All the county parties, we're going to be focusing on active ballot collecting, making sure that all the ballots get in, and passive ballot collecting, which Georgina was talking about, having drop boxes in churches. We have 2 that are already, 2 churches that have approached our county party, so we want one of those. So we have 5 in the office, actually down to 3. We'll probably be ordering some more. In addition to that, just real quick, and I'm not sure if you're aware, down in Orange County, California, 12,000 ballots came out of one drop box in one church. They flipped 4 congressional seats in 2020 from D to R in California, and then they flipped another one in 2022, focusing on ballot harvesting, and we're going to do it in this state. Okay, people ready for the dessert dash. Judy Billings, our state committee woman. Judy Billings, former president of the Women's Club.
I know you have all noticed the most beautiful desserts, and I want to thank everyone who donated dessert. And also everyone who donated for the silent auction. And also I wanted to mention, if you are not a member of the Republican Party, you have the opportunity tonight to take an application with you or sign up, and the same with the Skagit County Republican Women. So membership, we need you all to gather together to fight the good fight, okay? I know you're starving. You need dessert. Okay, so, the table with the highest dollar amount is table number 5 for $1,000. Thank you so much.
Cheesecake.
Okay.
Cheesecake.
Number 2, table number 15, $650. So you can go up and get your dessert, pick your dessert, get the first opportunity there.
That's okay, because there's tons of
Number
cheesecake.
3, table number 10, $600. Number 4, table number 1, $550. Next is table number 18, $520. Next, table number 7, $445. Table number 11, $380. Table number 19, $370. Table number 26, $350. Thank you all for being so generous. This is just good. Table number 2, $300. Table number 25, $250.
My third event today was food.
Table number 31, $250. Table number 30, $245. Table number 12, $225.
I don't know if did you catch my post on Facebook yesterday?
Look at Facebook, accept Facebook Marketplace.
Table number 28, $200.
So I got a phone call from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
They had a county commissioner running for office. And there's a Vito who works with our community all over the United States. He works for Cause of America. They contacted us and said, hey, we're trying to get this guy, he's a constitutionalist elected, so we're just not paying attention. And they want to do an email blast. So I'm going to put you a list of emails. Households who earn more than $150,000 or more. They also have attended a conservative political rally or have donated to a conservative candidate. And we filled that list. It was 2,500 email addresses that they had in his district. He bought the list for $500. He just defeated 2 incumbents, one a 3-time. This guy's a citizen candidate, never ran for office. Just beat 2 incumbents for county commissioners who are running and got the highest votes of all of them. So it looks like email is starting to make a comeback away from social media dominating 2 years ago. I think people are getting tired of seeing it and they're going back to their email and tired of the divisiveness on Facebook. I don't know.
Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy your desserts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We appreciate the opportunity.
His name is Dean Horst, H-O-R-S-T. I'm going to contact them and they want to talk to us about some more things, and then they're going to do a testimonial too. I think it's important to get that out and let conservatives know, hey, this is the trend that we're seeing now. It's a success in other states.
Race will be interesting because my district got more blue. With Lake Stevens, but not too bad, I don't think. See, you were good on your promise cheesecake. Winner. Here, I'll keep them going around. You can drop one in. 2 shirts and 2 hats. American,
Round it goes.
and give the bird. That's okay. It's like a bunker.
Yeah, I don't have another plate.
I don't have forks anymore.
Right, it's PG, right? We'll go back that way because
I'll go get us some forks. How many we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them?
right here.
Oh,
Bill.
you got them? Okay.
Here we're going to transition into the live auction portion of the evening.
Did you get? I think we all
Our
have one.
auctioneer tonight to help us out. Steve McMullen with Gold Brothers. You'll see packages on your table. There's 4 packages. We have 10 items, and we'll go from here. Come on, Steve McMullen. Please round of applause for Steve McMullen. Thank you.
There's another interesting development nationwide. My son plays video games. There's a video game that he plays. Over 200 million people played almost the world Destiny 2. He's ranked in the top 200 in the world.
So if any of you are more interested in Charlie
Probably.
I'd like to talk to you about it. We go down to all those events.
Call of Duty, it's a big. He plays Call of Duty.
We've got a couple of people that are going to be catching bids out there. Bill?
Dave,
go to work?
Is it time to go to work? You know,
and we got bids. Bill's going to talk to you about that.
They are boycotting the game. To me, none of this is interesting.
First item,
This age group
the scenic
is now
flight for
going after
2.
the locals and pushing
Flying
out.
Beechcraft
That is
Anderson.
voter.
Choose the departure. And Cordes, Skagit, Bellingham, Arlington.
Now they're waking
They'll
up.
pick you up at any of those locations. Fly up to Orcas for lunch in East Sound, and then fly you back home. Most all of these take some time to get arranged, so it needs a week. You want to look at weather and availability. Market value of $500. And I noticed looking through here, the market values are way off of what these things should sell for. Remember, we're funding the Republican Party in Skagit County. This is a fundraiser.
Hey, I'm not sure if they know they're supposed to wave this number up. Did you tell them about this?
It's the number, yeah, you've all got numbers, and use those numbers. I memorized a few of them around the room, so if you're not bidding, I'll just use your number. On the air tour around the San Juans, starting us out at about $1,000. $1,000, $1,000, we're all $1,000. $1,000 a fundraiser. $500, let's go. $500 when you're 500, 500, 500, thank you. $750. Yep, you're 500, $750. Take $600 on it. 600. 600 over here. 600. 600 down 700. 700, you're out. $700, 700, 7. Now wait. 7 here, now 8. $900 on it. $900, 900, 900. Where'd all the rest of it go? $900 on the yard. 900. Now thousands. Where we should have started. $1,000. $1,000 counting back there, Bill. 1,000. There, 1,000. 1,100. 1,000 there, 1,100. 1,100. 1,100. 11. Now 12. 1,100 here and 1,200. Go ahead and do that. $1,200. 1,200 to 1,200. 1,200. It's a really nice trip. 1,200. 1,200. 12. 13. 12 to 13. 13 to 13 to 1,300. 1,300. 13. 1,300 and 1,300. Anyone else at 1,300? Are you sure? 13 and 14. 1,400. 1,400 to 1,400. 1,400 to 1,400 to 1,400. 1,400. There we go. Final call at 1,400. Are we all through 1,400? And you can jump in at 1,400. Sold to $1,300. Thank you very much. Number is 155. Skagit Cellars. Winemaker's dinner for 8 on the scenic waterfront. 4-course dinner prepared to serve your friends and family. with quality award-winning wine. Schedule your date with Mark Halston. He's running for, I should remember where he's running.
Mount Vernon City.
Mount Vernon City. We're in Lacon and Mount Vernon. Another market value of 500. That's his starting bids. I'm sure that's what he's meaning. Dinner for 8. You can take the whole neighborhood. David, you can buy this one and we can all go. Started at 500. 500 to 500. 500 to 500 to 500. For 8 people. 500. Can't buy a hamburger for less than $50 nowadays. 500. 500. 500. $500. Thank you. 5. Now 6. 5 and $600 to 600. $600 to 600. We're at $600. 600. 600 to 600. 600. Nobody likes the Connor. 6. Now 7. 700. 7 there. Now 8. $800. You want it at $800? 800 and 8. 9. $900 to 900 to 900. 900 to 900. We go $900. $900. Either one of you 900. 900 and 900. 900 and 900. Sold up with $800 right here, number 243. Thank you. Now this one should start at about 2,000. You know, every day you get to go traveling with you. Monday traveling for 2, May to September, that's when the season's open. Probably better traveling in the wintertime. On a 28-foot cutwater, lunch provided. You have to be licensed to keep your crabs. This is on Jude Billings' boat and a really fun trip. $1,000 on it, $1,000, $1,000. Then anybody like Judy? $500 for 500. 500 to 500, 5, 6, 5 there, 600. 600 to 600 to 600. 5 spread out here, need $600 on it. 600 to 600, and we're at 600. 600. On Judy's boat for 606 there, now 7. I got the 6 over here, need $700 for it. 700 to 700, or 700 to $700. 700. Back out here at 700. 700 to 700. We're not even close to where we should be on this one. This is a fundraiser for the party. We've got 6, need 700. 700 to $700. 700. 7, now 8. 7 and 800 over to 800 and $800 over here at 800. 800 over through 800. 800 on this side, 800. Sold your way belts, $700. And the number is Heidi. 207, thank you very much. Deluxe crab feed for 6. Full dinner, salad, dessert, wines included. Fabulous sunset view overlooking Skagit Bay. Good for 1 year. Scheduled in crab season. Weather dependent. Yeah. Of course, all of these are season, time, weather related, so you make arrangements for it. And $1,000 here, $1,000 for 6 people in a big crab feed on the beach. $600 to 600, 600 to 6 and 7, 6 there, need 700, 700 to $700, $700, 700, 700 to 700, anyone else at $700, $700, 7, now 8, you get 700, now 800, 800 to $800, $800, you go $800 and $800, 800 on the crab feed, 8, now 9, fundraising, you can raise it as many times as you want, I'll take your bid every time. $800 at 800, 800, that's 7 right there, need 800, $800 at 800, and 800, and we're all at 800, 8, now 9, 8 here, now 900, $900 and $900 and 900, $900 and 900, 900, are you sure? You're thinking about it? 900, 900, 900, 9, now $1,000, $1,000, $1,000 and $1,000. It's a fundraiser. Don't care about the money. Just spend it. $1,000, $1,000, $1,000 on it. $1,000, $1,000. Are we all through $1,000? Sold it at $900. And we have 118. The 3-hour Lake Washington cruise. 2 to 5 p.m., maximum of 6 passengers. Snack and clear tickets, no red wine. Board at Dock 1, Brilliant Point Marina, Kirkland, on a 40-foot San Juan motor yacht. Because you're down there, you can make it an overnight at the Woodmark Hotel. It's not included in this price. It's the boat trip only, but it'll take a nice overnight trip to stay down there at the hotel. On the Lake Washington cruise, $1,000, $1,000, $500. Get it started. $500 to $500 to $500 to $500. $500. $500. Where are we at? $500. $500 to $500. We're all $500. We're looking here. 6 of you on the boat on Lake Washington for only $500. 500 to 5. Thank you. 5. Now 6. 5 and 600. 600. 6 back there. 700. 7. I thought they were all asleep in the back half. 6 back there. Need 700. 700. $700. $700. $700. 700. And 6 in the back need $700. 700. Sold it to 600. And there he is, number 172. Okanagan Islands Escape. 2 nights. Full adventure day for 2. Remote modern cabin, 4,200 feet on a beautiful Iron Mountain on Okanagan Islands. Private queen bedroom and bath. Breakfast for 2. 2 gourmet dinners. Lunch, depending on activities, beer and wine included. Hiking, shooting, bring your own gun, fishing, explore 4-wheel drive, just hang out, enjoy the view. Bring a camera, binoculars, hat, sunscreen, good footwear, no bugs, no snakes. 5-hour drive just over Highway 20. The last bit of the road is a little bit steep for 2 miles. But I'm sure you can get there. On the Okanagan Islands Escape, $1,000 to start it, $1,000, $1,000, and $500, that's $600, 6 and 700, 700, 700, 700, 700, 7, now 800, 800, 900, 900 and 900, 900 and 900 and 900, and 1,000, 900, there need $1,000, $1,000. Get started here, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, 1,000, 1,100, 1,000 there, need 1,100, 1,000, 1,100, 1,100. Really good company over there. 1,000, 1,100, 1,100, 1,100, 1,100, 1,100, 1,100, 1,100, 1,200, 1,100, need 1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, are we sure? $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, sold at $1,100, $190. And now the one you've been waiting for. 1 hour in the helicopter. Plus lunch for 4 passengers. Tour of the San Juan Islands. Include lunch stop, either in the islands or over at Port Townsend or on the Olympic Peninsula. And you get on the helicopter right out front. Pilot team. And about $3,000 on this one. Should get there. $3,000. $3,000, $2,000 on it, $2,000 to $2,000, $2,000. I'm not even buying the fuel yet. $2,000, $2,100, $2,100 to $2,100 to $2,100, $2,100 to $2,100 to $21, $22, $22 to $22 to $2,200, $22 to $22, $22 to $22 to $2,200, $2,200. Talk her into it, Tim. $2,200, $2,200 to $2,200, $22, $23, $23 to $23, $23, $24, $24 to $24 to $24, $24, anywhere back there, $2,400, $24 to $2,400, sold at $2,300 to Mr. Everly. There we go, the helicopter. Hey, Bill is going to come up these last two. Bill is your host and guide, so he'll tell you a little bit about first the 2 days of steelhead.
Oh, 2 days of steelhead. Listen, if you cannot get 6 guys to go fishing on the Columbia, I don't know if we're in the right room. Are you Republicans? Where's the conservatives? Fishing and hunting? Hello? All right. 6 anglers on the Columbia. We're going to be doing steelhead. Love steelhead. Steelhead is great. If you don't, if you're not available for these dates, we can upgrade it, we can cross-grade it to some different dates on different rivers for any kind of thing you want. But all tackle is provided. It's a friend of mine. It's a great boat. You're going to have the time of your life, 2 days. Hey, take your RV down and just rent a cabin for $50 a night. Take a bunch of guys or gals. Hey, girls like to fish, right? Yeah? All right. All right. I heard somebody paid $900 for a cake. So, all right. Hey, you guys want Sammy Burke to win the governorship or not? All right. Okay. I appreciate the fact that you've been saving your dollars for this and the next auction item. So let's hear it.
Okay, here we go on a fabulous fishing trip. And believe me, you want to go with somebody who knows what they're doing. You can spend hundreds of hours trying to find them. Go with somebody that knows what they're doing. On the fishing trip down on the Columbia, or other rivers that you make arrangements, move this around, and $2,000 to start it, $2,000, $2,000, $2,000, $1,000. $1,200, $1,000, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $1,200, $15, $16, $16, $17, $1,700, $1,700, $1,700, $1,700, $1,700, $1,700, we're not close here, $1,700, you sure? 17, now 18, 17 and 1,800, 1,800, 18, 19, 18, 19, 19 and $1,900, 19, 1,900, 1,900, 1,900, are we sure? Only 1,900 and 2,000. Should have started here at 2,000, 2,000 and 2,001, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,100, 2,100 and 2,100 and 2,100 and 21, 21, 21, 22, 22 to 22, 22 to 22, 23, 23, we're starting place here at 23, 2,300 to 23, 23, you're sure here at 2,300? Don't lose it, only another $100, $100 more, 2,300, 23 to 23 to 23 to 23, 2,300, 2,300, triple lifetime, $2,300, 23 to 23, 2,300, 23 to 2,300. Waving at the neighbor counts as a bid when you're doing it. 2,300, 2,300, 2,300, 2,300. 4 more now, 23, back to 23. You're out on the trip. 2,300, never regret it. 2,300, 23 to 23, 23. Sold at 22,190. And bear hunt.
right, now, this is a bear hunt. Now listen up. This, if you're a hunter, come on. Who's the hunters in here? Okay, let me ask you this. Who does not have a bearskin rug yet? All right, now we're talking. Now listen, this is important. This is the only spring bear hunt available in the state of Washington. Spring bear is not available in the state of Washington other than this hunt on the Gala. Why? Because the bears are overrunning this area. These bears need to be controlled, and we need your help to control them. What can we do? We can raise a little money for the Republican Party. We can raise maybe a little more than the hunters worth, but we can go out and have the time of our lives, pull one off the bucket list, and bring home a nice bearskin rug. And do the community out there in the Quinault a real good, solid favor. Can you help me with that? Aaron? Hello?
Okay, 4 days to find the bear. Well, Washington, next year's bear season, this one's over, 2024, the date on it, May 14th, June 15th. Licensed transport, food, lodging not included. Multiple choices for accommodations. And on the bear hunt, $3,000, $3,000, $3,000, $3,000, worth $3,000, $2,000 on the bear hunt. Where do you want to start it? $1,000, long ways from where we need to be. $1,000, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $2,000, $2,000 to $2,000, $2,000 to $2,000, $2,000, $2,500, $2,500 to $25,000, $2,500 to $2,500 to $2,500 to $2,500. We need a little better than that. $2,500, $2,500, $2,500, $2,500, $2,500, $3,000, $3,000 to $3,000, $3,000, $3,000, $3,500, $3,500 to $3,500, $3,500 to $3,500, $3,500. 3,500 to 3,500. Oh, she had 3,500. 3,500 to 3,500. Are we all through? 35 and 37.50. 35, 37.50. 37.50 to 37.50. 37.50. 37.50. 37.50. We live with that bill. 37 to 35. 36. 36. 3,600. 3,600 to 36, 36 anywhere else, 3,600. Over here at 36, 36, 37, 37 to 37 to 37. We're getting closer, 3,700. 37, get back in here at 37, 37 to 37, 3,700, 37. Are we all done? 3,700. Sold at 36, 190. Mexican Riviera, 9 nights, luxury condo, 3 bedrooms, like a week and a half. Sleep 6, 3,200 square feet. You see the pictures, you're right there with the biggest pool in Puerto Vallarta, on the ocean, May through June of 2024. $7,000 trip. You can take the whole family, take the relatives. Mexican Riviera, 9 nights, $5,000, $5,000 to $5,000, $5,000 to $5,000, $5,000 to $5,000, $5,000, $3,000 to start it, $3,000 to $3,000, $3,000. Where do we want to be? $3,000, $3,000, 9 nights, $7,000 vacation. 3,000, 2,500, 25 to 25 to 25 to 25 to 2,500, 25, 25, 25 to 25 to 25, thank you, 25, 3,000, 2,500 and 3,000, 2,500 there, $3,000, $3,000 and 3,000, $3,000, $3,000 at 23, now 35, 35, not half there yet. Half price, 3,500, 3,500 and 3,500, 3,500, 3,500 to 3,500, 3,500, 3,500 anywhere, all 3,500, 35, 4,000, 3,500 and $4,000 back there, 35, 3750, 3750 help you, 3750 get in, 3750, 37 thinking about it, 3750, 3750 to 3750, 3750, hold it, 3,500.
I gotta go help.
And the number was right there. 225. 225. Now, we're to the point where everybody out here gets to raise their hand. All of you, raise a paddle. We're funding the Republican Party, the local party, a lot of office expenses. A lot of this goes to local candidates. And on the raise paddle, started at $5,000. Don't have to take anything home. You don't have to go on any trips. Just support the party. At $5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. You are here at $5,000. 5,000, 4,000, 4,000 over to 4,000, 4,000, 4,000 over to 4,000. 4,000, and we're looking at it at 4,000, $3,000. Where's our first bid out here? $3,000, 3,000, we were 3,000. This is where the party gets funded. $2,000, 2,000, 2,000, you were at $2,000. 2,000, we were 2,000. Started at 1,000. $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, thank you. 218 per thousand. Anybody else per thousand? Should be everybody out there. Anywhere else at 1,000? $1,000, $1,000. Raise the paddle is funding the party. This is just donating money to the Republican Party here in Skagit County. And I've got one at 1,000. Anybody else at $1,000? 1,196 at 1,000. And anybody else at only $1,000? $1,000 anywhere? $1,000? $1,000 at $1,000? 1,104 at 1,000. They pay $900 for cakes. $1,000. Anywhere else? $1,000? Are we sure the $1,000? $1,000? $1,000. Donation to the party at $1,000. $750. $750. $750. $750 to $750. $750. $750 to $750. $500. $750. $175. You could view me that twice. $750. $175 again. See, that's illegal when you're funding the party. Raise the paddle as many times as you want. $500. $500 to 500 to 500. 500. 500. 133. Thank you, sir. 500. Anywhere else here at 500? 156 at $500. $500 at 156. And 243 at $500. 500. 500 to 500. Anywhere else out here in the audience at 500? 500. 500. 400. $400. 400 to through at $400. 400. 400. 400. 300. 300. We gotta have room here. 300. $300 to 300. 156 at $300. $300 anywhere else? 300 over 300. 300. 204 at 300. Thank you. $300. 300 to 300 to 300. 300 over 300. $250. Nice easy number. 250. 250 to 228 at 250. Anywhere else at $250? 250. 250. 250 to 250. 200. $200. 200 to 278. 278 at 200. And was there somebody over on this side at 200? 200 over to 200 over to 200. 200 over to 200 over to 200. $200, 200. $100. This is where everybody in the room needs to raise their hand at $100. If you're here supporting the party, it's worth $100. 233, 116, 195, 186, 244, 222, 203, 118, we'll get to you, 176, 151, 160. Got them all? 160, 158, 173, 219, 219, 172, 172, 232. And any of you can raise your card again, just fine. The few of you that didn't, it's time. $100, $100, 100, 131. 131, and anywhere else out here. $100, 148, 148, and at only $100, $100, $100, 100, 236, 202, 202 is the last one, and $100, $100 anywhere else, $100, $100, $50. $50? $50? Is there anybody out here that needs to donate some more money? We'll take any amount. $50? $25? $25? 25? 25 to 25 to 25? 25? Any of you can jump in here at $25? 25? 190 at 25. And anywhere else at $25? 25 to 25 to 25. That concludes the live auction. Thank you very much.
A big hand for Steve McMillan, our auctioneer. Thank you, Steve. Great job. Thank you, everybody that donated to the party. It's a huge honor to be able to introduce tonight's keynote speaker. It's truly rare that there's ever someone in the room with a bigger target on their back than me, but Glenn Morgan is that man. Glenn is a fifth-generation Washingtonian and an amazing one-of-a-kind conservative activist and citizen journalist who frequently meets with anonymous whistleblowers from various state agencies, local governments, and political parties to expose wrongdoing. He founded We the Governed, exposing the Democrat and leftist massive corruption and incompetence via his popular online videos. Glenn is also a former school board director and former grassroots director and property rights director at the Freedom Foundation. He's a former Washington State Director for Citizens Alliance for Property Rights and has served on the State Policy Board for the Farm Bureau and also is a current board member for the Thurston County Farm Bureau. He helped launch the Washington Voter Research Project, a Washington State nonprofit that focuses on election integrity and helps concerned volunteer activists canvass to help clean the voter rolls. Glenn has most recently been featured on the national news show Fox and Friends and is a frequent writer and speaker on property rights, the environment, big government, and the importance of citizen activism. Today, Glenn has filed 685 complaints with the Public Disclosure Commission. This has resulted in over 81 lawsuits with 83 politicians, judges, and PACs fined, plus 137 others caught and formally sanctioned, and over $617,000 in fines, much of which was taken away from Democrat leftist Marxists. Please give a warm Skagit County welcome to Glenn Morgan.
And for the life of me, I can't understand why they took me off their Christmas card list. It's always good to be back in Skagit County. It's funny, when I come up here, there was a while, I lived in Whatcom County for a little while, and I was dating somebody from Skagit, and to impress my girlfriend, I guess I had to say that specifically in modern times, right? It was a girlfriend. So, to impress my girlfriend, I thought I would borrow my dad's catamaran, just a little catamaran, and I took it out here to Hope Island to camp out. How many of you know where Hope Island is? So it was a great place to camp out, and I thought the next day I would impress her by sailing out of Hope Island. And I didn't really pay much attention to the tide. And with Deception Pass as close as it was, I got a chance to discover the intense tidal action out there at Deception Pass. And to completely impress her, I tipped it over. If you know a catamaran, I tipped it right over in the middle of Deception Pass. Getting sucked out there. It was a great first date. We did get rescued and pulled to shore. I broke the mast. It was just a great way to start that relationship out. And that's how I met her grandparents. They live in Chorus and have come and meet me at the beach. To see their only granddaughter's boyfriend explain to them how he almost sucked her right through Deception Pass on an upside down catamaran. Anyway, lots of good memories from Skagit County. How many of you, by any chance, have seen my We the Governed YouTube channel? I'm just doing, wow, that's a lot. Thank you. It's you got through the shadow banning, and Google wasn't able to hold you back. That's actually my second YouTube channel. The first one that I had was taken away from me years ago, long before censorship was cool. And it's actually kind of a funny story, and I'll start it out because I am an activist. This is my full-time job. People always ask me, what's your day job? And I tell them I'm a conservative activist. I'm an evangelist for freedom and liberty, which means I'm entirely unemployable. Once you've gone down that road, let me explain some of the reasons why. I had found these videos in 2012, I remember I got them at the time, from one of the Democrats' biggest donors in Washington State. Her name was Jay-Z Knight. And she channels a 35,000-year-old Lemurian warrior spirit named Ramtha, who's traveled through space and time to speak through her and tell people to vote for Democrats, at least at the time. And she was giving them lots of money. What she wasn't advertising were these videos that I had of her making intensely racist speeches. And I had confronted the Democrats about it, and they didn't care, right? They were getting big checks, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So my YouTube channel at the time, I released the first video, which was her saying really racist things about Mexicans. Democrats didn't care. So the next day I released her video saying hateful things about Jews, that they deserve gas chambers, things like that. Democrats didn't care. The next day I released a video about her saying hateful things about Catholics. Democrats didn't care. So the next day I released a video about her saying hateful and nasty things about organic farmers. And that was the bridge too far for the Washington State Democrats. And they finally decided they would no longer accept money from Jay-Z Knight. And you can't make that up. And she took away my channel, and I got sued several times actually over the next few years. So if you start to make the news for things like that, then that doesn't exactly put you on high on the opportunity to go work at a regular job. The other thing my wife warned me about before I came here tonight is that we're bringing in an exchange student from Germany this next year. A couple of my kids have decided to become exchange students to go overseas, spread liberty and freedom to some other places, and show them that hopefully not all Americans are dumb, fat, and don't know geography. And so, by the way, that's the reputation that we have overseas. And everybody Googles where their kid goes, so we decide, hey, we want this kid here. And right now, if you Google Glen Morgan, even through the German translator, there's still stories about me shooting a criminal on my property, death threats, and I think they were quite concerned that their kid was going to go and maybe get killed by Antifa at my house. And so she said, please don't talk about all the death threats that we get or anything else that's remotely relevant to violence, because the German families are not going to want to send their kids to our place for some reason. It was funny, I told them, well, you're going to need to learn that in America we've actually did the Second Amendment, and we will probably shoot criminals that attack us here. But anyway, it's a little bit harder, again, to translate that. One of the things I want to talk about is the enemies of freedom and liberty, what we really are facing, and more importantly, what can we do to stop it? Typically, when people think of the enemy of freedom and liberty, this is a Republican event. So typically what people will think is the Democrat Party, right? They're the enemy of freedom and liberty. And it's unfortunately true today that liberty and freedom has no home in the Democrat Party today. It did years ago, it did. It does not today. If you care about liberty and freedom, and you don't have to believe me, just talk to the activists that I work with every day who were Democrats just a short time ago. And they cared about liberty and freedom. They're no longer there because they're not welcome. But it isn't the Democrat Party. It's not even really, I mean, the tool to destroy our liberty and freedom is big government, that's true. The administrative state and the bloat of big government and the absorption of our freedom and liberty through whether you call it the deep state, whether you call it the administrative state, whether you call it the abuse of the growth of government, like this amorphous blob that just has to expand day by day, law by law, tax by tax, grant by grant, to absorb our daily life. And it's true, it's a big part of the loss of our freedoms. Our founding fathers warned us of this. We were warned. They knew. Everyone knew. And yet we've allowed it to still grow and metastasize over the years to become this thing that hangs over us today. But truthfully, I think that there are two things that are more important, and this is what we can control today, that are the threats to our freedom and liberty. And the first was when I was a college Republican, I used to say this all the time, and it's as true then as it is now, that apathy is a terrible enemy of freedom and liberty. The loss of our freedom and liberty that we've experienced, that we've witnessed, that allows situations like this SB 5599 bill to get passed. Apathy is a huge part of what allows us to be in that situation in the first place. But the other part of that I used to not talk about so much, but that I recognize now more around us, particularly after COVID, the other enemy of freedom is fear. And it's fear, it's palpable. How many people do you know are afraid to stand up for what they believe or say anything about what they believe in the workplace because they might be fired? We all know. I see you shaking your heads. Everybody knows that. I mean, you live in Skagit County, it's pretty safe up here, actually. Imagine if you lived in Seattle, or Bellevue, or you work at Microsoft. I know a lot of people that have lost their jobs, just for the minorest indiscretion of violating the woke agenda, or not getting a jab. But because that fear permeates so many people, it allows evil, it allows abuse, it allows the elimination of our freedom to flourish. It's that fear and that apathy. The apathy thinking it's not going to happen to me or it's somebody else's problem, and the fear that I'm afraid I don't want to stand up because something might happen to me. A couple of years ago, how many of you know who Tim Hyman is? See, there you go. Great. Who doesn't know Tim Hyman? Well, Tim Hyman and I thought it would be a good idea. We wanted to see more activists out there. And activism is very different than running a business. If you run a hardware store in town, you'd really rather have the only hardware store in town if you could, right? It gives you an opportunity to sell more, and if another one starts up, it's your competition. Activism is completely the opposite. If you're an activist, you want as many other activists out there as possible, because it increases the targets that government has to go after, right? So if there's more of us, it makes it harder for us to stop it. So Tim and I got together and we thought we're going to do this tour of Washington State called the Full Contact Activism Tour. And we thought it'd be good to just encourage more people to become activists. And we realized after the first couple of presentations that we were doing around the state together that we probably weren't the best people to be up here recruiting activism, because you're inevitably telling war stories, right, of getting sued by the AG, or getting sued by crazy hate cult leaders, or death threats, or other things. And for some reason, that just doesn't inspire people to join with us and get up there and do the same thing. We had to take a different tack. But the truth is that you are unlikely to experience that level of stuff, but we have to have more people get out there and be active. And if you want to improve freedom and liberty, if you want to improve the future of freedom and liberty, there's several things that we have to do, and we have to recognize it. One is, whatever path to success that conservatives have, and we inevitably, I'm just telling you, the cycle of political power tends to change over time. When we get in charge, we can't waste it and squander it, as we have done so many times. We wasted our opportunity in '94. I think we lost an opportunity in 2016 back in DC. And one of the things we have to recognize is that if you care about liberty and freedom, you have any inkling of concern for your future generations, your kids, your grandkids, the size of the state has got to be reduced. We've got to radically and significantly shrink the size of government. If we fail to do that, then your freedom and liberty, our freedom and liberty, right, is doomed. You have to go in and be willing to cut down the size of government. There's no other choice. People ask me sometimes, and I know Semi's here somewhere, but people have asked me, they always ask me to run for governor. I'm never going to run for governor. But if we get a Republican governor in there, I volunteer for the job of firing as many government employees and bureaucrats as I can possibly find. Because, and I live in Thurston County. 52% of Thurston County, my neighbors, are the people who run these state agencies and work there. Okay? I will happily fire my neighbors so that you can have more freedom and liberty. We all know it. And so we've got to get people in there willing to do that. It is critical. It's absolutely critical. The other thing to remember, this was a phrase they used to use when journalism used to exist as a real practice in this country. And that was, they always said that they comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. Right? How many of you have heard that phrase before? Comfort the afflicted. Well, that's exactly the opposite of what the Seattle Times or King 5 News or CNN or anybody does today. They primarily operate as an organ or an extension of big government. The Democrat Party frequently, but big government most importantly. And they no longer report what's actually happened or the truth. And yet, that is a need that we have to fill. We have no choice. We have to find a way to fill that need so that we can start to report the truth and expose the truth about what's actually going on out there. In order to do that, we have to be willing to engage, and we cannot be afraid. We have to be willing to engage and tell the truth and not be afraid of the intimidation or the threats that we think are out there. And by the way, most of those are overblown. And I'll give you a quick story that kind of highlights, I think, the situation that we're in, why there's a lot of hope, but how we've surrendered, to some extent, much of this to the other side. Evergreen State College is the nearest college to where I live. It's a blight on the environment and the educational system. It was an educational experiment that's long failed. And for some reason, they invited me to speak to one of their classes. Yeah, I don't know how I got through that little narrow thing, but they invited me to come and speak. And it was a room full of about 60 students. The professor told me when she was bringing me into the classroom, she said, listen, you only have to stay here no more than an hour. I've told them not to call you names. I've told them not to spit on you. I've told them not to throw things at you, right? You'll be, and I remember to say, okay, I'll be fine. I'm used to hostile audiences, right? It'll be okay. And I got in front of this class, and I probably spoke for about 10 minutes, and then it was all question and answer after that. And there was no question out of bounds. And it was a complete give and take, real free-for-all of conversations about freedom and liberty, property rights, Second Amendment, the Constitution, what it meant to be a small government guy, what it meant to be a conservative, right? Just a wide spectrum of issues. The students were actually pretty good. It was a really good sequence, a lot of questions, really good questions. And after a certain period of time, hour and a half or so into it, this student stands up in the back and she says, I'm about ready to graduate from this place. I'm a 6-year senior. Which appears to be about average at Evergreen, and then Western, I think, too now. And so I've been here for 6 years. And how come I've taken all these classes, right? Taken all of our professors in this place many times. Why is it that I have never once heard a single topic that we just discussed today here in 6 years on this campus? Not once. They're in a desert of freedom, right? freedom and individual thought, any of the ideas that probably everybody in this room takes for granted. Those students in that school literally never heard a word of it. And the same thing's happening at the Western right now. Same thing's happening at UW, same thing's happening, unfortunately, in most of these institutions. Now that didn't make the professor happy. And so the professor, of course, started jumping in and throwing questions at me at that point. And I'll tell you, there's a distinct advantage that we have over the left. I knew every question that she was going to ask me. I read all the same stupid books that she did. Somebody talked about Rousseau. I read Rousseau. I read Marx. I knew everything this professor had been brainwashing her students with, because I had to go to college too. But she has no idea what I believe, right? And so it was easy to deflect her silly and predictable questions and then address the other issues that she has no idea that she doesn't even know how to answer. So I was banned from every state college after that. Wasn't allowed to go back. But because of that, one time there, they actually started a new student group on campus for a number of years. They called it the Conservative Support Group. And I actually got an intern for the Freedom Foundation, where I was working at the time. So who knew from Evergreen? And he was a plague in bureaucracy, so it was great to get to work with him. We are not doing a good job reaching out to places that we're not comfortable. I mean, we don't even exist. Our ideas don't even exist. And if you don't believe me, audit one of the classes here at Western. You don't have to drive far. The Huxley College, for God's sake. Right? They don't. Liberty and freedom is destroyed every day in those classrooms. But we have to reach out to them. We cannot just assume that just because it's become this disaster zone, that the people going there, the students going there, wouldn't share our values and beliefs if they heard them. They will. But you have to reach out, you have to talk to them. As Republicans, we don't do a good job of that. I'd like to do more of that. As people who care about liberty and freedom, we have to do that. And I think that's important. I wake up every morning as a conservative activist, and my first thought is usually, what can I do to hurt the left today? It actually is. If you know me, you know actually that's exactly what I think every day. And it's when you think that way, when you confront the other side that way, one of the things you learn over time is what do our opponents fear? Like, what do they really fear? What are they afraid of? And it's an important thing to understand, because we have to confront ideologically the other side, and physically and practically the bureaucracy or the administrative state or some element up here. What do we fear? And I'm going to tell you, number one of the things they fear the most is public exposure. They absolutely are terrified of public exposure. And then many bureaucrats actually quit their job just on the rumor that I was going to write a story about what they were doing. Wow. I didn't even get to the story yet. They quit before I could get there. Why would they do that? Because they're terrified of what you will find out if you actually know what they're doing, what's really happening there. And that is why censorship is such a high priority for the state today. And when I say the state, it's big tech, it's corporate, it's grant grifting, it's all this operation together. They must censor us because they fear us. They fear the message that we will tell. Partially, they fear being exposed, the truth, but also they fear liberty and freedom message because it's appealing. When people actually hear it and understand it, it's appealing to them. It's not a hard sell, but they have to hear it. And like the students in Evergreen, they're not hearing it at all. The other thing, how many of you know people that have left the state? Right? That have left the state. I'm done with the state, but I moved to Idaho or Texas. I was just reading a story the other day about a student, senior at a high school in Kellogg, Texas, one of the most conservative areas in America. And he got up and he said something incredibly radical in his high school. He said, guys are guys and girls are girls. And they said they canceled his graduation. They said, you're not going to be able to graduate now. I'm not going to let you have graduation. Parents protested, a few parents protested, so the school canceled the graduation for all the kids.
Wow.
All of them. He was getting ready to get a job in the local fire department. They called him up and said, you don't have a job anymore. They canceled his job the week before graduation. Kellogg, Texas. The most conservative area of America right now. If you think you can run away from this, You're delusional.
Yeah.
You cannot escape what is going on. There is no escape for this. Reagan warned us of this. There is no escape. You cannot escape this. You can only fight it and defeat it. There is no other option, no running away. I love this state. I love Washington. My family, many of your families, right? There's stories everywhere. Surrendering that to a bunch of clowns, to people that think it's a great idea to take over 6 blocks of Seattle and pretend like it's a different country.
Yeah.
You know, to people that think it's a good idea to kidnap your kids, who think it's a good idea to tear out the dams in the Columbia River.
Right.
These guys are clowns, and they're actually quite fearful, and they're fearful of you. And they laugh at you when you run away because they think we bluffed them. We convinced them to leave. We're getting them eventually anyway. What they're most fearful of is that you'll stand up and actually stop them here. Washington State is very winnable. Lots of opportunities here. Now, we have to be competent. We have to be smart. We have to know what we're fighting for, and we have to know how to fight smart and well. But it's so winnable. It's winnable. But we have to be out there and willing to engage. You can't let yourself sink in fear and surrender. You can't run away from it. It's coming. You may not be interested in government, right? But it's eventually interested in you. So we have to do something to push back. And it's different for everybody. I don't expect you to be the person that wants to jump up and get sued by a racist hate cult leader for 6 years. As fun as that was for me. And I did. I mocked her every step of the way. I had a great time doing it. My death threats I used to get were up here, but I hardly get any now. And it's just because I just think they gave up, right? It was fun for me and probably not so much for them. So it got boring for them. You don't have to do that. There's all kinds of things you can do. Pick your passion. Find a way to expose it. Maybe that's the ridiculousness of some of the code. Like you have a code enforcement department here in Skagit County that's probably filling up with a bunch of Western grads from Wesley College who think you shouldn't have property or wells or water. That's a great place to start. Maybe start exposing that. Your schools, where about the only part of the English language they're learning anymore is pronouns. In fact, that may be the only thing that they actually, they're improving on pronouns and everything else is getting worse. As Teddy Bird mentioned when he was up here earlier, he's right. The other thing that I want to mention, and it's very important, I really appreciate the fact that Bill had a bunch of elected officials who were up here running. When I decided to run for the school board in Thurston County, it's a Rochester school district, very rural school district where I live. And I just decided, my kids are going there, my wife taught there. I wanted to make sure that I knew what was going on in the school district where my kids were going. And so I put my name out there. And the Democrat Party in Thurston County had an emergency meeting. And it was, I thought I was really laughing about it because it was a big panic meeting and they said, whatever we do, we must not allow Glenn Morgan to ever hold elected office. About the school board race, right? I mocked him for it at the time. But they were right in a way, right? Why were they fearful? For the same reason that when I was doorbelling people and somebody asked me about something that had nothing to do with the office I was running for, and I would say, well, I can't really do much with that topic in this office, and they'd say, it doesn't matter. You start today at school board, but tomorrow you might be running for the legislature. Just like some of the people coming up here and speaking to you here today, we want to elect good people. Not just for what the good they can do in the school board in these local races, but the good that they can move up the food chain later on when they're your future legislators. Most higher office holders started somewhere. That's why they were afraid. And they're right. And we don't pay enough attention to the people getting into local office. You have a school board member get up here and tell you today, you have 2 school board members that are running unopposed that are probably crazy. I'm sorry, I was on the school board, so I just know the people that are out there. So most of them, the left knows as well, right? They flood the zone. We have to take charge of our own area. We have to take charge of our own community and start getting people in there who support our views. Yep. Now, so I guess if I can just close with basically just 3 things, right? Do not be afraid. They fear us, and they should. But they only fear us if you're willing to confront them. You have to be willing to confront them. And I'll give you an example. When I was a college Republican at Columbia, and I remember I was fighting the left back then, and it was a socialist mostly on campus, just like today at most of the other college campuses. And they had a hunger strike. It doesn't matter why, it was a stupid reason, like most of them are. And they were harassing all the students coming out of the dining hall. And I remember what we did is right next to their hunger strike, we brought the biggest barbecue out we could find and parked it right there. And we had this massive barbecue right next to the hunger strike. And it was funny. It was funny. I mean, not so much to the socialists, right? But it was funny to everybody else. And it was as public as you could get. The membership in our college Republican club, by the way, tripled after that. The next day, tripled. Because nobody wants to follow a lukewarm, milquetoast coward, right? Nobody wants that. But if you're willing to stand up and confront the most obnoxious people that humanity's produced lately, you know, and confront them in a funny way, confront them in an effective way, not in an angry, bitter way. Nobody wants to follow bitter critter. But get out there and start doing things that make a difference, make an impact. You can find things like that where you live. Don't be afraid. And I always say, don't be apathetic. Don't try to run away. You can't avoid it. It's coming for you. You might as well join forces with the other people that are around and do something now. And then if you watch any of my videos, it's no surprise, I end every video with a statement that the future belongs to those who show up. And it does. For too long, we haven't been showing up. And when we start to show up, we can make a massive difference and make a big impact. So with that, I want to thank you guys so much for having me out here in Skagit County. And I always forget this. Okay, so my wife said, when I married you, you were a productive member of society, and now you become an activist. So she made me start carrying this around, actually. It's a tip jar. It's a little charity case. And I make a living going around and confronting the left, annoying them, and then usually the other people who are annoyed by them as well and think it's funny, they'll donate to me, or other people support me around the state. So if you are interested in supporting me, I do have a tip jar up here. But otherwise, I'll be here for a while. I'm happy to talk to you or answer any questions if you have any. And I'm always happy to come up and help activists if you're trying to get organized and make something happen. So guys, thank you so much, and back to you.
Thank you, Glenn Morgan. Thank you for Glenn Morgan. Lovely to have you, Glenn. Okay, so we can start turning up. The gun raffle is next. Don't go anywhere. After God Bless America, we are going to be here for another hour with music and dancing, but right on up, it's the gun raffle. Come on up. Gary and Paula Clancy. Or just Gary Clancy.
Your Vanna White is missing, so Bill can use sub for Vanna. Yeah, I gotta have to pick the winning ticket. She usually does that, but she took a powder. So I want to thank you all for your kind donations. We made over $2,000. And that's how we're going to give Olympia the bird. Right? Give Olympia the bird. And also, this is because of Emperor Inslee. This is the last time we'll be able to have a gun raffle. Because effective January 1st, I buy this gun, then I have to transfer it through a licensed firearms dealer to the winner of the raffle. And after January 1st, that person will have to take a 10-day gun training course, be certified, and have background checks before he or she can get the gun. So this probably won't happen again until we change that law. It'll be challenged in court, but that'll take 3 or 4 years. And right now, the first judge of the appeal is refusing to enjoin it, so it's going to stay in effect. Also, the magazine law takes effect July 1st, 3 weeks from now. So if you want to buy a handgun that holds more than 10 rounds, you got 3 weeks to do it. It'll be illegal after July 1st. So, let me set this down and pick the winning ticket. Hold it up so I can't see. All right, as you look at the back of your card, it's either red, white, or blue. We had 3 decks. You got it? So if your back of your card is red, stand up. One of you is the winner. There he is. I told you. Now if you look at the front of your card, they're either red or black. If it's red, sit down. Sorry. And we'll refine it a little bit more. There are numeric cards and face cards. Anybody with a face card, keep standing. You members guys can sit down, so that puts the accountants out of it. And the winning card, Tim Lewis is looking at me with a serious stare here. The winning card is Red King of Clubs. The Red King of Clubs. And if he's not here, I'll pick another card.
Pick another card, yeah.
What did they tell Caesar? Up or down? Red King of Clubs, going once, going twice. You just lost your crown. All right, this time, you folks with a blue back card, can stand up. All right? And if you've got numbers, keep standing. The face cards get to sit down. Sit down. And if your numbers are red, take a seat. The winning card is blue, 7 of clubs. We got a winner? Here she comes. Okay. We do. Thank you very much. We may not do this again.
Lastly, a few people have asked about the referendums over there. You are allowed to take stacks home with you, so please do if you like. Now for God Bless America, Jared Peterson.
Let's stand, and I would like you to pray this in song with me. We're going to sing together, God Bless America. We're going to do it twice. So if you could all have just access your most reverent attitude, and let's sing this as a prayer for our country. It needs it. I'm grateful for those who spoke tonight.
Across the sea.
Shortly, we have dancing in the next hour of music.
Your name's familiar. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I probably know him as a deputy. Gotta be one. That's gonna make it in there. Yeah, you have no choice. You have to do it. Not everybody can do it or should do it the same way, right? But I think most of it's going to be actually even the small. Is what? Oh, I'm sorry. What's that? Oh. You're always going to have these Yes, please do. Yeah, no matter what. They may weaponize this thing before. So, yeah, that's important to me. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Glenn.
Hey,
Great job.
Yeah, thank you. I hope that was good. I mean, it's always.
No. You're talking to the church.
Yeah, I know. And it was funny. I was remembering that sail. I didn't remember that sail. I had my catamaran trip in a long time, but yeah, it's just I was remembering that now. It was just a funny one, you know. It could have been a whole lot worse, you know. It could have been a lot worse, you know. Unfortunately, I was wise enough to get survival suits and wetsuits, and life jackets. Yeah, but I mean, still taking a swim through Deception Pass isn't the optimal, you know, decision for anybody to have. So anyway, how's it going? Good. Oh yeah, no problem.
So what did you guys think of the Skagit County Republican Party Lincoln Day dinner, and what did you think of Semi's speech? Holy heck. Let's go find him, guys. Here's Ted Green, hard at work. Getting Semi signs out. Who do we have here? Mary.
Hi, how are you?
From God Government
Yeah.
Women.
Yeah, we just do the government and the church. And so we got books and children's books and some crafts. So we're just having a good time up here. Yeah.
Is this Semi's phone?
I think so.
Okay.
Hold on to it.
Yeah, I'm going to put it right there.
There's the man himself. Getting to know all the people of Skagit County.
Fight for the red, white, and blue. He was 19 and green with the new M16, just doing what he had to do.
my dear, you honor me.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine. Are you going to support me?
I just want to say I am a teacher. I teach history. And so that's critical race theory. My heart's sore. Thank you for that.
Sore in that way.
Yes.
Well, no, and it's true. If we actually understand, I see these. If we actually look beautiful, I thought that was you. I'm sorry, I went squirrel for a minute, my friend. But if we actually understand our history, just like you said, that is truly what defines America. And the fact that they're trying to teach children to not love our culture, or flag, or understand our origins for the sake of a dark time.